But is I think
We're already live?
yeah, we're live.
Okay. Live.
Do you see it?
But is I think we're already live.
Yeah, we're live.
All right. Oh yeah.
But is I think
There it is.
yeah, we're live.
All right. Description's in the mail.
Great. It caught me picking my nose in the beginning. Look.
That's why I said it. I was like, are we live?
Huh?
That's why I said, are we live? Everyone's hearing us right now. Hello, everyone. You don't get this kind of entertainment elsewhere.
No. I don't know if that's good or bad. All right. Well, it keeps us from having keeps me from having a big ego, I guess.
Right. Here's the good news.
Here she is. Oh man, why does she look so good and compared to us?
Because look, I told y'all I'm not a hat person.
Well, you look great. You look
Oh my
fantastic.
God. So good to see you.
How are y'all?
Well, it's nice to see your roommate down there in the orange bed.
And if you can just hold it together while we're doing this live, would be great.
Right.
Oh man, we're so happy you're with us. Ed's
Yes.
just making sure the streaming's going, and then we're gonna start.
Pick it up. All right, cool. Let me make sure I turned off everything.
Okay.
All right. That's good. That's good. Oh, wait, one more thing I gotta check.
Look at that little dachshund.
Aw.
He's like, where'd she go?
This is all a trick to get the dachshund on as a guest. Okay, that looks good.
Come on, buddy.
Okay,
You stand there.
there we go.
Gotcha.
Someone's very excited you're back.
Yes,
All right.
it is exciting to be back with you guys.
Oh my
Oh.
God. You're telling us. All right. YouTube is streaming. Facebook's there. Beasley's here. All right, so if you want to mute your mic, turn your camera off for the first segment, then we'll come get you in about 28 minutes.
Yes, and you'll be able to hear us and hear
All right,
everything
cool.
we do. Okay. We will see you in a
Turn
minute.
off your camera because we don't want you shaking your head. We don't want to see you shaking your head. What are these guys talking about? All right.
All right. Are you
Man, I
ready,
look
Ed?
a little bit like, never mind. Let's go. James Dillett Freeman. All right.
Welcome. Oh, you ready?
Are we recording audio?
Good thing you asked.
Yeah, right. Dude, this is going to be a dynamite episode.
You're lucky.
True. We get to do a show with you and Kathy Beasly. You ready?
Yeah. Welcome to The Funniest Thing,
Oh, boy.
where each week we share stories about how stepping out boldly always leads to better than expected outcomes.
Yes, it does.
I'm Darrell,
I'm Ed.
and we're broadcasting live from middle school studios in beautiful downtown Culver City, the heart of Screenland.
Oh, boy.
And today we're going to do a little walking, Ed.
That's right. Today we're going to walk right into your best life with Reverend Kathy Beasly. Do you really desire to enjoy the very best your life could be? It's simple. Refuse to stew. Give up stewing over the behavior of others and you'll walk right into your best life. While complaint is the law of decrease, gratitude creates a portal through which grace comes into your life in the most miraculous ways. Gratitude is a vibration that calls in miracles. Gratitude instantly makes you a vibrational match with your divine inheritance. On this episode, Darrell and Ed discuss the advantages of raising your frequency with gratitude and how to avoid becoming a stew pot. And during the second segment, Reverend Kathy Beasly, our good friend, makes it clear that you can't go wrong when you're focused on all that's going right. With today's reading, what you give is what you get, sucker.
That's right. What you give is what you get. So, Ed, what are we going to kick today's episode off with? Some readings, some breaths, because we got some good breaths that go perfectly with our
I know
topic.
you read something that it like went right before that talked about like walking away. I feel like it was the brown book in your hand there, the one on the bottom there.
No, that was the Go Crazy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was this one. I got it.
All right.
All right, folks.
All right. Let's start off with some readings, man.
We're going to start off with readings.
We're all happy you're here, by the way. Someone, Cranky Pants on YouTube said, "Howdy, guys. Grateful for you. Have a great show." If you ever want to watch and hang out with us live and comment in real time, you can go to YouTube on Saturdays, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
We live stream on the Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed YouTube channel. If you do and you're watching, like the videos, share the videos, subscribe to the channel, and all that good stuff, then more people will get to hear the show.
And our readings, a lot of them come from what we recommend we all do, because we do it.
Yes.
Is start your day with a morning routine
Oh, man, it's essential.
where you, and I mean, this definitely helps you avoid becoming a stew pot, because first thing in the morning, you start reading inspiring, uplifting spiritual things from other people. Your mind starts to fall in line with that.
Oh, man.
And you start,
So true.
and you really, it starts elevating your mental approach to your day.
I can't think of any other way to get out of the stew pot. I mean, a lot of these teachers really talk about that. Fillmore and them talk about when it comes down to it, it's really about meditation and affirmative prayer. That part of your day, if you're not doing it. Darrell was talking about going into churches, and you said Catherine Ponder could tell right away when she went into churches whether or not they meditated and prayed in that in that congregation, and not just the congregation, but in the ministers. If the whole community was about that, because there's no other way but that direct experience to really live this stuff. Otherwise, it's just a stew pot of head soup, and you can argue about this, that, and the other thing. But if you make that contact every day, then it becomes a totally different thing.
Yes.
Joyous.
And speaking about morning readings, this is from a little book of daily meditations called God Grant Me. And this, if you have the book, it's from November 25th. And it starts off with this quote: "Holding on to anger, resentment, and hurt only gives you tense muscles, a headache, and a sore jaw from clenching your teeth. Forgiveness gives you back the laughter and the lightness in your life." And that's by Joan London. And it goes on to say, "The huge and wonderful gift is this: we can walk right into a new way of living.
Yes.
We need to focus on learning this new way of walking in life. And to do that, we need to leave the old ways behind. Today, I will focus on the good stuff that happened to me. Instead of stewing about the driver who cut me off in traffic or the person at work who said something mean, I'll think about the guy who smiled or the friend I chatted with over lunch. And the best way, if you really want to get out of stewing over what's wrong, you got to realize how much power you have in simply blessing things in your life, choosing to consciously bless things." This is from a book written in 1935 by Francis Wilshire. It's titled You. That's Y-O-U. And one of the things in here, you know how there's a saying, and it's a saying is, "It works if you work it." And, you know, a lot of people think, oh, 12-step groups invented that saying, or another person that gets attributed to is Johnny Cochran came up, the minister who was a unity minister and then started her own church. Johnny Coleman. Johnny Cochran. Johnny Coleman.
Johnny Cochran was another famous
Well,
lawyer.
Yeah, well, I almost thank God I didn't call her Johnny Carson. So Johnny Coleman was a female minister. She was a unity minister, and then she branched off and created her own ministry in Chicago, right? It was Chicago.
Yeah.
And she would say it often because it's true. It works if you work it. And the truth is, this is in all the way back, dates back to 1935.
Right.
Francis Wilshire. It works if you work it. And she's referring to perhaps some people will say, oh, this is entirely too simple and childish. Well, you have heard before, the proof of the pudding is in the eating, so find out for yourself. And I say, it works if you work it. And she's talking about thanking in advance, believing you have already received, and then you'll have it. You know, just like Jesus said, like think with the end in mind, believe with the end in mind. Don't worry about the how.
Yes.
And what I wanted to read was, there's this chapter in here called Blessing. And she says, you see, all good lies dormant in everything, only waiting to be awakened. Nothing can or does exist except by virtue of the mind and substance of God. And when you bless, you call it forth into activity. And the other thing I want to follow this up with is that she gives an example. And she says, if you are going to be interviewed for a position, tune in to the other person beforehand by praising and blessing and choosing all good for him, by sending out to him joy, love, and goodwill. And even though you have never met him, try to sense that you are already friends. That will give you ease of manner and poise, making you feel divine assurance. And then you will know that the mighty God power goes before you, making easy and instant and perfect your way. And then another great old book. This one's from 1912.
Wow.
Is this old stuff any good? Why aren't they reading new books? We read new books, but truth is truth.
Truth is truth.
And it's the same. We just find the readers that share it in a delightful way that gets us excited to apply it. And they share it in a unapologetic way to where it makes me want to buy into it 100%.
Yeah, then
when
when you see like more older, more original sources of where the information came from, even though these aren't even like, it just keeps going back and back. But there's something about the liberating in my mind when I realize people have been sharing this and saying this stuff for so long, and it doesn't matter what conditions, what year it was, or what they were going through. They had the same, they were facing the same things that seemed hopeless, the same divisive times politically, the same disease, like a different name, but another scary disease, whatever it was, financial. But they stuck with these same principles. And there's something about that is very reassuring.
And they got results. That's the thing. They're not just talking airy-fairy. They got results.
Yes.
Like practical real life change and like upgrades in their circumstances.
Yes.
So this one from 1912 is called God of Present Help, and it's from H. Emily Cady. I'm excited for our guest to join us because I know she enjoys these authors as well.
Yes.
And this is Life More Abundant is the chapter, if you have the book. And she's kicks this off with a Bible quote. My word that goeth forth out of my mouth shall not return unto me void, but shall accomplish that which I please. And everything we're talking about, when we're stewing over something, that's just like cursing. It's also whenever I'm stewing over anything,
yes,
I am casting myself as a victim of that person, place, or thing. Also, in the Bible where it says, you shall have no gods before thee, in Moses,
Right.
Charlton Heston,
Right.
on the 10 Commandments. Well, that's what we're talking about. It's not like a different God other than Christianity. It's just meaning, what am I worshiping? Am I worshiping this problem? Am I worshiping the fact that I'm upset because so-and-so did this, or I'm upset because things didn't turn out the way I wanted them to? Because if I'm doing that, I am making myself a victim or a servant, or like we learned about confidence. Confidence is worship. It's whatever I'm putting my faith in. Well, then I'm worshiping at that altar. So the easiest way to sum up what she just said, my word that goeth forth out of my mouth shall not return unto me void, but shall accomplish that which I please. That's from Isaiah 55, verse 11. Emmett Fox says it simply. Bless a thing and it'll bless you. Curse a thing, it'll curse you. And then it goes on. All words of truth are alive with an invisible energy which has power to work miracles. All words of truth. What do I mean by truth? These guys say that a lot. Well, she's going to let us know. Such words set into motion the invisible energy which accomplishes and which does not accomplish when not spoken or thought of. So what is this truth that she speaks of? Here it is. Speaking definite, positive words of assurance to oneself or to another has marvelous power to lift and transform, power to fill the fearful, trembling heart and the suffering body with a consciousness of the real living presence of God. There is wondrous life-giving power in definitely and vigorously compelling oneself to sing unto the Lord a new song, even making it a song of praise and thanksgiving for benefits.
Yes. Dude, if we're going to walk right into our best life, when you were talking just now, it made me think of the story of Jesus healing the man at the pool. And I just happened to look it up just now. It says John 5, it's in John 5, and Jesus said to him, "Get up, pick up your mat, and walk." And once the man was cured, he picked up his mat and walked. In one episode, we were talking about this, and it occurred to me that the mats that we sit on is our stagnant consciousness, believing in the bad, the wrong. And, because when I do it, I fold my hands and I sit on that mat, that state of mind, and I won't move, and I'm waiting for someone else to save me, and, and I have a sob story. But if I sit on that mat.
Well, it's funny. When Jesus first talked to him, he even started with his sob story.
Yeah.
I've been here for 25 years and waiting for people. They rush in before me.
Right.
And Jesus didn't want anything to do with that. He's like, okay, do you want to be made well? That's all I care about.
Yeah, and so he tells him to pick up his mat, lift your consciousness higher than that, and then just walk away. And you were talking about the word confidence, meaning worship. And yesterday I just stumbled upon a picture that I took of some reading that said, it was really good. It says to stress, another definition of the word stress is to emphasize. Yeah. So when we're stressing how bad it is, that means we're emphasizing the limitation, the lack. We're always stressing something. Like, are we stressing the bad or are we stressing the good? And it turns out that the truth is the good. This morning, that came to me through when I was doing my morning routine. I realized, because Emma Curtis Hopkins, I talked about this last week, recommends change the word God to good.
Yeah, that's so
For
good.
most of us, it would be better to call it good because it actually has some meaning that is not mixed with all of these connotations that we've picked up through our lives. So what came to me first was worship at the altar of God instead of fear. But then I said, worship at the altar of good.
Yes.
This is for me. Worship at the altar of good. Look to the good to know what God is doing, because I've been through this enough times where I've wrestled with this bad limitation, only to finally let it go, pick up my mat and walk. And the good comes. How does it come to me? It comes when I let go, when I use what I have, when I bless what I have, when I appreciate what I have, when I stop struggling and telling these stories. So if I worship at the altar of good, I'm reminded of the truth of how things actually work. And in order to do that, I have to stop worshiping at the altar of fear. And this is a practice because my mind, I trained it. It was trained, my subconscious mind was trained to worship. And like I have a masterful mind, part of me, superpower of just making it bad and really leaning into. I used to be a master of that, and it's like,
Well, you were taught that.
yes, and I'm unlearning that. And as I do, it's so awesome because the altar of good is within us. So when my mind starts going down the road of how bad things are, now I say, oh, no. I worship at the altar of good. And I use this exercise the last couple of days that I got from Abraham Hicks. They're not the first to teach anything like this, but they said, you may not know what to do in a situation, but you know how you feel, how you want to feel.
How you want to
So
feel.
she was saying,
yes.
say it to yourself out loud or to yourself in your mind. And this really helped me. You know what? I'd rather feel good than dwell on this judgment. I'd rather feel empowered and joyful and wonder what good is coming next. And that's actually a combination of denial and affirmation.
Yes.
Because I'm denying what I don't want and affirming what I do want. So these little tricks, the thing is, they crack me open to the good because the good is the only thing that's real and true with a capital T and a capital R. And that's what Emma Curtis Hopkins keeps teaching in her book, Practical Christian. What is it called? It's called Scientific Christian Mental Practices. And again, she's not the first, but I just happen to be reading that book, and her voice goes through so many of the other things we read, which is, if I have an issue, somewhere in my mind, I have accepted the reality of sin, that it's real, that myself or someone else has sinned, and I'm clinging to that as a reality. And in order to fully embrace that there's only one power, it's God, it's good, it's love, I have to be willing to let all that go or forgive and just acknowledge that it's not true about me and it's not true about anyone else. And this is the danger of politics, of where we're encouraged to judge someone else. We're encouraged to hate them, encouraged to say, and we end up shooting ourselves in the foot and becoming part of a circus that has nothing to do with us. Our power comes from within. If we want to have power, we have to worship at the altar of good. Because...
Wait, is that the one because you read?
I just want to read one thing out of this, and then I'm going to read that.
Because that goes perfect with the how do I want to feel.
Totally. I just wanted to set this up because Joseph Murphy has a book called Miracle Power for Infinite Riches. And I picked it up because it has this yellow and green cool cover. Darrell's taught me to find this type of thing.
Always judge a book by its cover.
Yeah, sometimes you really can. So I just wanted to say, when I'm living, one of the things that liberates me from all my fear, doubt, worry is like recognizing that I want to be someone who inspires a feeling of increase in others.
Yes.
For so long, even my spirituality was a selfish pursuit to be right in the end. But now, and Darrell talks about this a lot. He already talked about it today. That's why I want to read this, which is, think about inspiring a feeling of increase in everyone around me.
Yes.
When I think of that for my day, and he says increase is what all people throughout the world are seeking. It is the divine urge within us seeking fuller, greater, grander expression in all phases of our lives. Increase means the multiplication of your good along all levels. All levels. And I woke up the other day and I heard this voice in my head saying, like, I'm not looking for a cure because I was like feeling run down or whatever. I'm looking for the miracle. And the miracle is when we switch over to divine, where there is no illness, there is no lack, there is no limitation, there is no trouble, there is no bad person. We switch into this reality that means increase, and that's when all levels the good increases. Do not talk about the financial lack, poverty, or sickness of others. To do so is to attract more lack to yourself. Clothe everybody mentally with the riches of God. Give attention to the riches of the infinite within and without you, and you will prosper. Attention is the key to life.
And that's the happy.
Yeah. Now this is really good. So this is a book called The Power of Decision by Raymond Charles Barker. I recommend reading it. Read it with some friends if you really want to get the impact, because each chapter is amazing. So he says, and I'm going to read this actually in reverse because I like this. Stop all complaining. And the chapter is called Decide to be Happy. because we got to make a decision which altar we're worshiping at. Stop all complaining. Stop telling others of your unhappiness. Find things to praise. Start seeking the good points in your relatives, friends, and coworkers. There are some good points in these people ready and waiting for you to find them. When you are asked how you feel, tell a spiritual truth, though it may be a factual lie. Answer that you feel great. You never felt better. Watch your conversation, and whenever you start in with negatives, change at once to creative and interesting ideas. Your spoken word has power. And then here he says, it all starts with a depth decision to be happy. State aloud to yourself, I have decided to be happy. Do this in a firm voice for at least a week, and follow this by saying, I have a right to be happy. If other people can be happy, then I can be happy. I have the same mind and emotions that they do. I now demand that my subconscious use all of its intelligence to make me happy. State to yourself that you believe happiness to be a spiritual gift and that this gift is already within you. It is there by right of you being alive. The more you affirm the spiritual side of happiness and your spiritual right to having it, the sooner you will have results.
Because now now that we know where these three breaths came from, actually they were inspired by the guy on the mat.
Yes.
And we're going to surprise you with those in a minute. But I don't know. I mean, if you've been a long-term listener on the show, you probably heard us say many times that the origin, or actually the literal meaning of affluence, means to be in the flow. To be affluent means you're in the flow. It means you're in harmony with the positive stream of life, the order of the universe. That's what it means. And when we're in that flow, everything seems to be taken care of because we're not stressed when we're at peace. So our health improves. But more importantly, when we're stewing, that means I've taken myself, choosing to take myself out of living an affluent life.
Right.
I am taking myself out of being in the flow of good. So if you just do nothing, but for one day, go, every time I get the urge to complain, I will not complain. I will not stew, and I will not go on and on about these things. But keep in mind, we talk about the word and saying things. Well, thinking is talking. Thinking is saying things in your mind. You're talking. That's using words. People don't realize that. Well, I'm only thinking it. But if I'm thinking it, I'm feeling it. And if I'm feeling it, I'm attracting it. Because I'm vibrating, because it's the universe's job to match vibration. But here's the great news. If just for one day, or say for half a day, do the egg timer trick. From now until noon, I am not going to stew whenever the opportunity to condemn, curse, or complain pops into my head. And I'm not going to say things aren't going to pop up, but we're talking about stewing on it. Like if someone cuts you off, you might go, but don't go on and on and on and then call someone and tell them about it. We're just saying, okay, fear condemns, love forgives, let it go. You will be amazed because just doing that, by not stewing, proves that God does not do spite work. By just not stewing, we're instantly you're going to see coincidences. You're going to experience opportunities just occurring naturally, just by not stewing, because living in that state of affluence is our natural order. It's divine order. It's the same, our thinking universe, everything operates on the same laws. So when we're in harmony with the order of the universe, and remember, 99.9% of the universe all the time, even our bodies, is in perfect order. And these disturbances are always the anomaly. Mm-hmm. They're the rare thing. What gets in the news, the problem with the news is we think this is true everywhere. But the news is just reporting anomalies that feel bad because they're not in harmony with 99.9% of our daily life is
Right.
not what's happening in the news. And so saying that, we have these great 3 breaths. We got them from the Information Society,
Yes.
so we know they're true.
That's right. That's
And,
right.
and it's emphasizing exactly what we're saying.
All right.
So you ready for these?
Yeah, this is what I've been doing all morning. And it feels so good to know that we have this choice in our lives.
And
Let's take a
these
deep
were
breath.
first uttered in the 80s, I believe.
Yeah, I think 88 maybe.
The 1980s.
88 or 89.
Yes.
Okay. I'm walking away from things in my own past.
I'm walking away from things in my own past.
I'm walking away from things in my own past. Yeah, that's really good because my old voice will go, "What are you doing? Oh, let me show you some more crap from your past." And we got to be, that's right. I'm walking away from, even though, the more we walk away.
But that's exactly
Yeah.
what Jesus told the guy in the
That's
back.
right.
Come on now, walk away from your own past.
Actually, when someone, this is the part that they left out of the Bible, it got edited on the cutting room floor where someone was like, "Damn, you look great today. Why are you so happy?" And then he sang that, "I'm walking away from things in my own past."
So that's what happened when the Pharisees got around him and said, "What happened? Why are you carrying a mat on the Sabbath?"
That's right.
He said, "I don't know. All I know is I'm walking away from."
You know, you said, when you just spoke earlier, it just reminded me, at best, stewing is a distraction from the good that is actually happening. This is what Emma Curtis Hopkins emphasizes, and I believe it. All the bad that we call bad is just a figments of our imagination. The good is in spirit. The good is true. So all this imaginary crap that we're encouraged in certain ways to believe, it's just a distraction from the good. So those of us who choose to walk away from the things of our own past and worship at the altar of good, at first it might seem like, this is crazy. What am I going to be lonely? But you'll look around, you'll find the others who are there with you, and we get to have a party, and we get to celebrate the good life regardless of what is going on around me. You know, Yogi D. Clown, he was our guest recently.
Yes.
Yogi Bhadrapala, he sent me this prayer today, which I thought was great for the show. He said, "I uplift those I hold in consciousness. I do not ask others to pray with me anymore. I relax into consciousness in the silence, trusting and affirming receptivity to be open to highest good. It is the same when others ask me to pray for them. I remember the activity of spirit working within them. Trusting in the divine presence doing its perfect work in their lives helps me to let go of any preferred outcomes I may want to hold on to. It's not my role to figure out what is right for those for whom I hold in my heart. The best solution is their solution, and it already exists in spirit. I take comfort realizing other people might also be meditating for them in the same way. I'm grateful for the divine unfolding of loving good actively working in and through those whom I hold in consciousness. I affirm that you are open and receptive to your highest and best for you." Wow.
That's walking away from things in our own past.
I know. And Yogi, the Grateful Clown, and Barbara Weatherman are on the YouTube channel right now, so thank you guys. So let's thank the Patreon people. If you haven't started contributing to Patreon and you would like to join the prosperous Patreon community, patreon.com/funniest thing. And it's actually in the link to the show, either on YouTube or on the podcast app.
If you're really benefiting from what we're saying, hit the subscribe button or buy us a cup of coffee on Patreon, because even though we're having a good time, it takes a lot to make this show possible, and we'd love your support.
Yeah.
But most of all, if you think anyone else could benefit, that just share them the link.
Right. Michelle Marie, who's been enjoying the recordings of our Tuesday Prosperity Zooms, for those of you who are on Patreon, said, Happy Thanksgiving. Loved what you tune into, you turn into. So grateful for your show and it's the steady stream of inspirational stories, demonstrations of truth. Thank you, Darrell and Ed, with love and appreciation. We appreciate you too. If you want to send us anything, funniest thing, P.O. Box 1312, Culver City, California, 90232. Kirky sent us a bunch of postcards. One of them has a picture of Homer Simpson. It says, Screw Kirky, I don't look like Homer. Fuzaro loves you. I guess he's implying that.
I look like Homer.
I got one saying I look like Bart the other day. And it's a quote from Neville Goddard. It's impossible for the poor man to find wealth in this world, no matter how he is surrounded with it, until he first claims to be wealthy. Signs follow, they do not precede. That's where you got to be really careful. Politics is a big area where they use these words, the rich and the poor.
Oh.
We all are rich. And the sooner we claim that for ourselves, the sooner we see it. So don't let anyone convince you that there's virtue in poverty or poor, being poor. It's we bless others by embracing our wealth. The fact that we're alive is wealth. That's what, like, richness is defined in many ways, but just be careful about judging.
And if you want to, if you want to increase your financial standing, I'll tell you what. Talking about stewing, if you're stewing over how the rich don't deserve to be rich, well, then you're not going to be one of them. And the thing is, it doesn't matter. There's more than enough.
Yeah.
And there's a great Fillmore quote that I love. It's an affirmation. It's, focus the power. If you focus the great power of your mind on ideas of plenty or good, we're saying good, but you can say plenty, then you will have plenty, regardless of what other people are saying or doing. Oh, and
you know who would love that Reverend Ikeness you just shared? Is Kathy Beasly.
Yeah, what was the Reverend Ike one?
Don't judge.
That's right.
If you judge them.
No, he says this. He says,
yeah.
If you curse the rich, then you're not going to be one of them.
Yeah, Kathy loves Reverend Ike.
I love Reverend Ike. So I got my new book out, which I usually never say these things, but now I'm not afraid to. It's called Step Out Boldly, the hidden meaning of the Statue of Liberty. And this book reveals the many symbols contained in the Statue of Liberty that you can utilize to accomplish your goals and realize your dreams. It's my favorite book. You probably heard about the process.
Yes.
I went through in creating it. And that's on Amazon. So if you just put Step Out Boldly and my last name, Fusaro, Fuzaro, it'll pop up.
Is it really only $8.95 US?
Yeah, it's only $8.95 US.
Look at this, folks.
Wow.
I'll take that one.
And this isn't even a fake. He really gave me $10. Wow.
I've been wanting to buy it, and so now that it's out, I'll buy it right now. Circulate a little
Wow.
loop. By the way, we want to thank our chief engineer out there in Kansas City, Kansas, because each week, his name is Jeff Comfort.
That's right.
Each week,
He takes us
right into the comfort zone. All right, coming up next, Reverend Kathy Beasly makes it clear that you can't go wrong when you're focused on all that's going right. She's going to share today's reading. What you give is what you get. Thank you for listening to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed, live from middle school studios in beautiful downtown Culver City, the heart of Screen Land.
Yes.
All right, let's get it. Are you going to go tinkle?
Okay, is Beasley popping on, or did she decide, click,
Oh, man,
I'm
so
out of
glad I
here?
finally got this.
There she is.
Beasly!
Yep.
Oh, baby.
Hey, do you need to tinkle before
I'll tinkle. I can't believe I said Johnny Cochran.
I'm so glad I was on mute because I fell out of my chair.
You heard it. But yeah, but isn't that amazing? We're so blessed to have these people in our history. It's just
Incredible.
I'd be lost if I didn't have all this information.
Agreed.
Oh,
Yeah, right now we're just live on the YouTube. So,
cool.
yeah, Jeff Comfort will cut this out of the audio for the podcast part of it. But, man, you look great. What the heck's going on?
Man, look, I could be a stew pot about it, or I could step into the good.
Yes.
Is to step into the good. I moved into the good.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that loud and clear. Thank God. Thank God for these principles and these books. And
Oh,
yeah, I don't know what I would do. I mean, I do. I'd probably, I don't know. I'd shrivel up and like, I'd disappear.
I am telling you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we got Sue Hodgson live from snowy Canada on there as well. Hello, Sue Hodgson. Appreciate your daily emails. Um, you know what? You can keep smiling. I better run tinkle too. Then we're gonna get started.
I'm gonna do the same.
All right.
I trust your effort.
All right. Oh boy. Dude, we have our own studio. This is so much better.
I know, and it's streaming.
It's incredible. And we can walk away. We need to get that sign.
Wait. Oh, yeah.
Don't worry, folks. In the future, Darrell's going to make a sign. What's it going to say?
Everyone's tinkling.
Yes.
Stand by.
Stand by. I wish you could have that. Or like some music, like that fun music that plays.
Oh my God. I don't even want to tell you the silly standby things I used to put on the screen
Oh, I can only imagine.
at the TV studio as a joke.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Kathy, are you there?
I am.
All right.
Let
Shall
me-
we bring it back?
Yeah, let me make sure I got enough volume over here. Okay.
Hey, thanks everybody on the YouTube for hanging out. You ready to get started?
I'm ready.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to Funniest Thing, Darrell and Ed. Today's show is called Walk Right Into Your Best Life with none other than Reverend Kathy Beasly. How are you?
I am groovy. If I was any better, it'd be two of me.
Well,
And I don't know if y'all ready for that.
we would love it. I love it. Though you do have a sidekick, though. Let's not.
Can you introduce
Forget your sidekick.
That's Shanti. And he's like, what?
I know, he's
trying to
actually-
make himself.
I see that. He's like, I got to get in the shot just right. So
I know. He
he's-
moved his
Right.
bed so it would be perfect.
But we were just talking about, we've been going on and on and on, and now we would love to unleash some Beasley truth upon the people and hear what you have to say about this matter.
We got a lot of words, man.
Great.
All right, where do we begin? The one thing I got tickled about your idea about stew pot because yesterday I was so full of Thanksgiving food that I wanted to make some stew. And I couldn't find all the ingredients. And what that made me think about was, every pot that we put on the stove, it's eventually done. And when it's done, it's time to turn off the fire because the fire is what gives it life. And it's time to just move that thing to the back burner and focus on something else. And while y'all were talking, I'm glad I was off camera because I was just over here giving y'all some preachery amens when y'all were talking about the man at the pool when Jesus just walked up and was like, dude, do you want to be healed? And he started telling him the rules. Many times does someone ask us something meaningful and we start telling them the way we've been told it's supposed to work? Well, what if we just trusted what was within us? This idea of the miracle that we are. And then get up, and while y'all were sitting here singing, I'm walking away from, I'm right here with walking in the so yeah, so that will be my mantra for the rest of the week. And there are some very clear things, we start to think about what are the true truths in our lives and the stuff we believe in. And the thing about believing is it requires our participation. So it's not just, I believe and I stick sticky on the back of my door and that's just where I keep all my beliefs. No, it requires us some sort of way to buy in to that. And if we are buying into what's in the pot rather than what's in the soul, then eventually that pot's going to move to the back burner and we feel like we're incomplete because we're not all fully present. We get to choose front burner or back burner of the things in our lives. And like y'all, I wasn't gonna let y'all be the only ones that show up with a book to read something from because I was like, nope, y'all caught me off guard last year. So this time I'm like, nope. So this reading comes from a book. It's called Life is for Living by Eric Butterworth. And there's something that he writes about the affirmation. And the affirmation is really just a truth statement. It's our way of expressing the thing that's true. So where we put our energy, do we put our energy into the rules, or do we put our energy into the thing that our heart and soul really desires for that moment? And he says the affirmation is helpful as a memorandum of what to believe. So it becomes a reference point. So our affirmations become this marker in the desert that we can get back to easily. And that's every time we need a point of refreshing, that we can return to that marker because it's not just out there somewhere, it's in here everywhere. And I love that. And I'm like, I get to choose whether I'm going to be a stew pot and just lay there 38 years of my life. And every time something happens, I get more and more mad because nobody will put me in the pool because I don't have the ability to get there myself. Or do I take this chance of goodness? And I love that you all were talking about the idea of God versus good. And it's a more universal expression because who doesn't want some good? I mean, I'll sign up for that. I'll vote
Yeah.
for that. Give me some good. I can download it, send it to me, however you can get it to me. Give me the good. And if that's where we focus, then that's what we get. It's simple as the law of mind action. The thing we think about, we bring about. And so if I'm thinking about the good, um, then I am bound to experience more of the thing where my thoughts follow, where my thoughts proceed. And I love that you said signs follow, they don't proceed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, ooh, that's some true truth right there. And so as we do that, we get a chance to really choose where we focus our energy. And this being the holiday season, I choose to focus my energy on the miraculous.
Yes.
Because earlier this year, I got a diagnosis and I wasn't supposed to be here right now. The fact that I am here, that is miraculous. That's the play. I could stew about what was wrong and how long it took and what they said and what they didn't say. Or I can just go, I am healed, whole, and complete. And that's enough, more than enough on so many levels. So, what are you really thinking about? Are you thinking about the good? Or are you engaged in that? Um, my spouse and I call it the one-upmanship of how mad can I get about
Yeah.
that. Yeah, am I more mad than you? Because if I'm more mad than you, then I win. And I'm
Right.
not sure that there's a prize in that box of crackers.
No.
It's a turd.
I don't ever know what the word y'all are gonna come up with. But we live in a world of distractions.
Yes.
I mean, they're everywhere. If I stand in line or sit in the office too long, pull my phone out of my purse and I start doom scrolling. Can't even help it. I
Yep.
mean, I almost need the first meme to say, put it back where you got it from
Yeah.
because we are so distracted and we focus on the fact that we're distracted, but not what we are distracted from.
Yes.
And if we realize that we are being distracted from our good, the good already belongs to us, but we are being distracted from our good by some random headline, something on our phone or on the television, um, we can't change who we are until we start to see that. And at the core of our being, there is only good.
I'm so glad you said that. We got to consider, okay, well, yeah, everyone says, we have so many distractions now, but wait, what are we being distracted from? We're being distracted from our very own good.
Mhm.
It
Yeah,
makes it,
it's
yeah.
yeah, this is time of year where people have bonfires and stuff, and we get to decide what we gather around. Do we gather around problems set ablaze, or do we gather around the good and the light that comes from the good, the warmth that comes from the good,
Yeah.
the connections that come from the good, and or do we just stand around and complain and piss and moan about the problems? I'm like, I don't have time. My first message after being on ice for a year was called "Ain't nobody got time for that."
Yes.
So I'm like, no, I don't have time to gather around the problem. Let's
Oh,
gather
man.
around the solution. Let's gather around the good.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you gave, you gave me a very helpful tool, which I don't think that you even know you gave me, but I realize I can now ask myself, am I digging in the Cracker Jack box or the litter box? Because I
Yeah.
know what I'm going to find in each one.
This
Yeah.
one, yeah. But there's no real surprises.
Yeah, if we're complaining and getting others on board, because you always find anyone to jump on board with whatever silly negative thing you saw online or heard, or
Yeah.
it's like now I'm like creating a vortex. Like now I'm like pulling people in the litter box with me, expecting like thinking somehow this is gonna make me feel better.
Yeah.
I'd rather have someone,
Mhm.
no, no, Darrell, you're in the litter box right now.
Yeah.
Come on over
Come
here.
out wherever you are.
Yeah. Come
Yeah.
on and get out and let's get back into your good.
Man,
Yeah,
it's
and that's
real,
what
man.
we do. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's a spin. It's a spin cycle,
Yeah.
and we gather up our little our little private army. And I always said I wanted to be in a girl gang, and I have crayons. I'm not afraid to use them, and we ride at dawn. But we are
Hmm.
not getting ready to ride at dawn and chase down some BS. But we will ride at dawn in the direction of our individual and collective good.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I want to be in your girl gang. I hope I'm allowed.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, oh.
Oh,
Look, I get to bring two friends a year.
all right.
Yes.
Yes.
We'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah, because I
You
want to
say
be
that
part of
now.
I want to be part of this positive gang. I want to be around people. But here's the thing. You don't even have to really go looking for the positive people because when I'm committed to thinking this way, like even on my walks, when I am thinking along these affirmative lines, I meet people spontaneously, say hi. Like it doesn't matter what color they are, what planet they're from. Doesn't like we have nothing in common, but we have everything in common when I'm thinking affirmatively.
Yes.
It's try it because it's my experiment. I do all the time. I send out blessings and I go, wait a minute, Darrell, because I'll catch myself. I'll start getting on a train of thought where I'm thinking about some project or something, or maybe I saw something in a movie the night before and I'm starting to relive some harrowing scene in it. And I go, Darrell, no, get back. Remember your purpose. Just imagine blessing all these people on your walk and watch what happens. And it feels so good. Just today, a lady had a shirt on that said, what it, when, because, where I hike, it's really diverse. I just want you to know that. And her t-shirt.
Well, you're there, so.
Yeah, I make it diverse. So this lady walking up the hill, I never saw her before, but I feel my heart gets so full of love thinking this way for everyone. So her shirt said, when black men smile at me, I feel great. So I smiled at her and I said, I hope I make you feel great too. And she said, oh, any man that talks to me makes me feel great. I said, hallelujah. And we had the best. I felt like I love this woman.
Yeah.
And then I'm walking away going, thank you, God. I love my life.
Right.
It feels so good.
Yeah. My family tells me all the time that I have never met a stranger because I just randomly talk to people. And I'm
Yeah.
like, sometimes if we don't, we never know that whether or not
Right.
we're the only external voice that they
Yeah.
will hear today.
Yeah.
And please and thank you are magic words.
Yeah.
And so I just thank people. I'm hanging out in the grocery store. I'm just trying to make sure they don't realize I have 12 items in the 10 item on this line. And I will thank the cashier just for being there. I'm like,
Yes.
today. And I carry on. I skip on my merry way. And while y'all were doing your opening, I went looking for a quote. It's a Charles Fillmore quote. It comes from Jesus Christ Heals. Did y'all mention the word forgiveness? And forgiveness, it means giving up something. And when we choose to forgive ourselves, we cease doing the thing that we ought not do.
Ah, what a relief.
And I'm like, when we get into the stew pot, we got to forgive ourselves and go, let me just get out of here.
Yeah.
This is not where I should be. I'm doing the thing that I ought not do because it's not going to do anybody any good. And
Yeah.
so I just climb right on out and I keep right on kicking. And then I choose not to be offended by the fact that whatever was in the pot was either too hot or too cold.
Yes.
I feel
Right.
like
Right.
this is too hot, this is too cold. But we have to learn, I think, to let go and to give up and make room for the stuff we pray for,
Yeah.
the things that we desire. And all we're really doing is affirming, what's already present in our life, not
Yeah.
necessarily lining up in front of the spiritual vending machine to get me another bag of sacred Fritos. No, it really is making room for more good.
Yeah.
And so what I do in my home is I keep one shelf in my closet and one drawer in the kitchen empty.
Mm.
Because if I can do that, I've made a space for good. And
Wow.
when good shows up, it already has a place to belong, rather than me having to give away 3 pair of shoes, which is not going to happen. But I've already cleared room for it. I'm expecting my good,
Yes.
and I'm not surprised when the good shows up with my name on it.
Yeah. Yeah. What you just said is so important. That's why I love this like Wallace Wattles idea an idea I got from the Science of Getting Rich that is just go about my day thinking about increase for myself and others, the others part especially, because if I'm doing that, I can't stew and be imagining increase for others. And the other thing was what you just said, we always tell people faith is a joyful expectancy is a good definition of faith. And it works everywhere. I was last week, my son has been, this last 10 days, he's been in London and Italy. He just turned 22 a couple days ago. He's an amazing kid. He put this whole thing together. He's living on his own. He just started. He got a job, his own place. He's rolling, And so he got over there, and his phone. He's on my plan still, which will not last for much longer. But he needed to turn the travel pass thing on so he could use his phone over there. And so I'm going on Verizon to try to figure this thing out. And it's, nowadays, like most companies, they don't try to make it easy for you to find like a direct contact with someone, right? So finally, it's like, oh, I'm chatting with someone. Then I go, shoot, I'm chatting with a computer. It's just giving me. Finally, I got to a person and I said what was going on. And there was like a super long delay. And I noticed my mind was starting to expect this isn't going to work, blah, blah. And so I had a couple exchanges, but then I switched my mind to what am I expecting? Am I expecting this to work out? Am I appreciating this person? Or am I stewing? And so I switched over to just switching to, no, this is going to work out. I can't wait for the good news. I started using different language, and I ended up taking pictures of the chat because all of a sudden this person was like, oh my God, you are so sweet. Most people are not kind to us. She felt this switch through through text. And this person started putting emojis like hearts and telling me, oh, I wish I could buy you a cup of coffee. And I started going, wow, isn't it amazing? Like, who would have thought that we could both feel this good chatting? And it just turned into a love fest just by me shifting and just changing the way I was communicating from a place of joyful expectation and a desire for increase of good for that person and me. And the whole thing got set up. It was super easy. But the exchange itself, I couldn't believe it. I was high as a kite off of a Verizon chat.
Well, this is the fact that we want to drive home and everyone listening, that this is not just Darrell and Ed talking about their good luck or Kathy talking about she's very fortunate, and these are her wonderful experiences. Don't expect to get them. We say this because this will work. Like, if you experiment with these things that we share with you, you're going to receive the same benefits. You're going to be feeling the same way, saying the same things. That's how the title of the show came about, was from when I was new to this stuff. The guy who was teaching it to me, I was constantly calling him because I would he'd say something like Ed just shared an example, and then I would try it and I'd call and go, funniest thing, you're not going to believe it, Mike. He goes, yes, I will. What happened? Because it's scientific. That's why I love that at one point during the New Thought movement, or in the latter part of the 19th century, early part of the 20th, they referred to it as a divine science, or they call it, science of mind, or religious science, because it's scientific. It's as scientific as any other science in the third dimensional realm. That in the spiritual realm, it's the same. Faith plus love equals better than expected results. Period. It works every time.
Yeah, it only works all the time. And as you were talking, I heard y'all say how much I love Reverend Ed. And the quote that came to my mind is, "You can't lose with what I use."
Yes, you can't lose with the stuff I use.
I'm like, if you don't believe me, try it.
Yeah.
It only works all the time. You can try it at home, no charge.
Yeah.
And see what happens? Because I was skeptical when I first showed up in New Thought, even though it agreed with everything as a minister I had been saying, but to hear it outside of myself, my first thought was, what's wrong with these people? And then I decided I have to try this. That's the only way that I'll know. And my life just has since then become this demonstration
Yes.
of all the things that I think. And I love when you all were reading some of the stuff that's from the 20s and the 30s. The 30s, there we go. And the 30s, I went looking at an article from a 1971 issue of Science of Mind that was talking about putting your beliefs into action. It's not enough just to have them.
Right.
Do something with it. Do something for good, whether for good is a measure of time or for good is an outcome. But do something with what you believe. Like for those of us who are Harry Potter fans, act like that is a wand, an extension of yourself.
Yes.
Point that thing in the direction of your good and see what happens and trust that it only ever works all the time.
Wow.
I love that you said that, because one of my favorite lines from Florence Scovel's Shin is, Your word is your wand. Your word is your wand. And another, you remind me of another good Reverend Ike-ism, because when we're stewing, we want justice, right? I want justice.
Ooh.
Well, you know what he said? Oh, you want justice? We all get justice, just as you believe. We get
Mhm.
it's done unto us as we
As we
believe.
breathe.
It's
Yeah.
done unto me as I believe, not the other person. So if I'm stewing about all these wrongs, well, you know what? My subconscious mind goes to work. The universe says, oh, okay, he's really a victim. Here's more evidence that
Yeah.
the signs always come after. They don't precede. And that's what we're saying here. As we believe, as we treat things now, like you kicked off the second half, the choice. What am I going to choose? Where am I going to choose to put my faith? In good or in complaint?
Yeah.
And
Absolutely. The
man,
choice is yours.
Yeah, and then you were talking about is either Foster McClellan or Lowell Fillmore who talks about
oh yes,
when we think about getting even with someone, it's like what we end up doing is pulling ourselves down to the thing that we. So he refers to let's get even with the good in our lives. Let's get
yes.
even with all the good that's been done unto us.
And he wraps it up by saying, don't strive to get even, strive to get odd.
Yes.
Strive to don't because when we're getting even
That's
and
a t-shirt right there.
yeah,
Yeah.
don't get even, get odd.
I like just get odd, man. That's great. I love getting odd. Do you have the Joyce Kramer reading we sent you?
I do.
Oh my God, your lighting is amazing.
With that, she always looks that good. That's the problem. She always
Thank
makes us look
you.
bad. We now look. It takes one to know one because when we met Kathy Beasly, it was love at first sight. It's
Yeah.
so amazing how
True.
because we met her last November. Was it last?
Yeah.
A year ago.
November.
Yeah,
Mhm.
last November in Unity Village. And we just immediately said, oh man, I don't know. That lady's amazing. I don't know what it is about her, but it could have just been your smile because you did not stop smiling.
That's a good indicator.
That's a good indicator right there.
So
Plus
I
we
was
all-
at like nerd Bible camp.
Yeah.
My people. Like, yes.
Plus, we all went dumpster diving, and if you're willing to go dumpster diving for the good stuff, we know what's going on.
Yeah.
Look, and I go dumpster diving every time I'm there.
Yeah.
So you all are near and dear to my heart.
Same here.
Oh, by the way, there's a prayer minister by the name of Cece from Unity of Ventura, and she says she wants to be part of the girl gang as well.
Oh, she's in.
Come on. Everybody's welcome.
That's beautiful.
Cool.
All right, so we got a little something here.
Yeah. You want the Joyce Kramer reading?
Yes.
Yes. All right. I love it because it sounded like an old R&B song. What you give is what
Oh
you
yes.
get. And so George Kramer writes, he said, what you give is what you get. The divine law of giving and receiving is fulfilled in and through me. I give to life, and I am repaid in increased measure. Life is a two-way proposition. It returns to you just what you give. Your life will never be anything more or less than what you make it. If you are dissatisfied with the results that are coming back to you, take a good long look at what you are contributing. Do you want to be healthy? Then stop talking about your symptoms. Believe in your own potential of perfect health and wholeness. Would you be prosperous and successful? Cultivate an attitude of success and affluence. Express your highest aptitudes and abilities. Would you be loved? Be loving. Give to life what you want to receive, and you will be blessed with a great outpouring of God's abundant good and increased form. Give, and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, shall men give into your lap. For with the same measure that you measure, it shall be measured to you again. Comes to us from the Gospel according to Luke 6:38.
Oh
Here
man.
ends our reading. That is actually one of my favorite scriptures. We say it together as a community at the end of our offertory every Sunday. And I have listened to our community start to say it, what I call with a little stank. I'm like, put some stank on it, like you mean.
What's amazing is how we had no idea that that verse meant that to you. And this, it's amazing how
That's
these
incredible.
coincidences
It
that
is.
this, that we, because we look through a reason and I just go, this one goes perfect with this talk. Well, let's send it to Kathy. Man, this is what we're talking about, folks.
What's cool about the Bible verse too is that not only does the good overflow and it's given into your lap, it comes right to you. I love that. There's no scheme, and that is the feeling, right? When the shoe fits, like Darrell says, you don't feel it. It is poured. It's just you can't miss it. When we're open and receptive, we can't miss it.
Absolutely. It's not like it can be delivered to the wrong address. It
Yeah.
knows your name. So it's
Incredible.
coming right back to you.
God, that is so good to hear. And that's what, when we're living this way, it all makes sense, right? Like it all just clicks. We're in the
Yes.
flow of life and it's just, there's no questions. That's why the ministers in the past have talked to Darrell and I like, how do you guys speak with such authority or this, or like, it's because when you're living this stuff, and I know you know, that's why the only reason I'm saying this, it's like, this isn't anything overly complex. When we get the spirit of what Charles Fillmore or Joseph Murphy or any of the people we've just described, Myrtle Fillmore, the spirit starts to speak through us. It's not like, oh, you can't miss it, like you just said. When it clicks in, we can't miss it. And we all have the authority when we speak through that joyful voice. And when we just let the spirit speak through us, we all have that authority.
Well, and most of all, when you start getting evidence, when you start using your life as your own laboratory to apply this, you're naturally going to share with from experiencing it. So of course you're going to be sharing with authority, you know.
Because it clarifies the meaning of everything we read when we experience it firsthand.
Yes, and authority just means, you know, an authority on this subject. Like the word, the difference between, I just learned this not too long ago, because there's, you know, why is there authors and writers? Well, an author is someone who writes a book that they're an authority on the subject. A writer writes a book like a novel or, you know, things of that nature. I never knew there was a distinction, but that's why.
Yeah, author is right in the middle of authority.
Yes.
And we author our life with authority.
Well, we got a story about you, Kathy, when you were a young girl.
That's right.
Are you ready?
Y'all scaring me.
You are always telling it how it is. We know that. As a young girl, Kathy noticed that the minister at her church always bowed his head, closed his eyes for a few seconds before he went to the pulpit to preach. One day, young Kathy pulled on his jacket after the service and asked him why he did that. The minister bent way down and lovingly explained,
I'm asking God to help me preach a good sermon.
Kathy replied,
well, why doesn't he do it?
Y'all are a mess.
She's
Sounds like something something that my mom would have got a phone call.
She's always been forthright, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we love her.
Yeah. Some people would
my
refer.
last little statement.
Oh yeah.
Is that goodness is timeless.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what age the thought or the quote came from. The goodness of it is timeless.
Yeah, that's true.
Goodness is timeless. That's right, you know, and it exists outside of time.
Yes.
It's ever present, infinite good. It's principle. It's always here for us. The most we can do is distract ourselves by stewing, but we can never make it go away. It's always here for us.
We have a great
perfect. I'm sure a lot of people call Kathy Beasly Queen from time to time.
Yes, I'm sure, of course.
Every now and then. I get that.
Well,
I'm like, but nobody declared a holiday yet. I need a holiday.
Well, Darrell and Ed declare this day Kathy Beasly Day in our life. So thank you.
Yes, and thank you on behalf of our listeners and viewers.
Yes. And we have a closing number we're going to serenade you out with. Remember, this, you know.
We found the original lyrics to a song by Freddie Mercury and the boys from Queen. You ready?
I'm ready.
God, you're gonna take me home tonight. Oh, down beside that red firelight. God, you're gonna let it all hang out. Oh, loving God, you make the rockin' world go round.
Visit DarrellandEd.com to find easy links to everything we do. And thanks for
Kathy
being a
Beasly,
part
we love you.
of Funniest Thing with Darrell.
Hey, I was just a skinny lad. You taught me good from bad. I knew life before I left my nursery. Ha! Now we've grown like big fat Fanny. She was such a naughty nanny. Hey, loving God, you made a good boy out of me.
Y'all rock.
Thank you, Grace, CC, Vicky, everyone else. We love you. Kathy Beasly, have a great week.
Beasly, thank you so much. Give our best to the rest of your family. We love you.
Yes.
We're going to be in touch. We got to bring you back again soon.
You know I'm in.
All right.
All the way in. All
Yeah.
right. Bye-bye.
Y'all.